All right, what's good, everybody? Welcome to the weekly recap. I was gonna say J recap, but we are gonna go over all of last week's trades, starting from give me 1 second, the 4th all the way through the 8th. So I took 6 trades last week: 3 on Monday, 1 on Tuesday, 1 on Wednesday, 0 on Thursday, 1 on Friday. I ended up going 4-1-1, so 4 wins, 1 loss, 1 break even, and I secured around 1870 per account. So what times that by 5? So 93.50 last week and secured a 10K payout. So it was a pretty good week. Did have 1 loss, but that loss, hey, it is what it is, right? So without further ado, let's get right into it. Let me show you what my thought process was regarding Monday. Right, I took 3 trades. All 3 of them were shorts, targeting unfilled gaps. So mech shorts. Let's get right into it. So coming into this morning, right, we have a 4-hour for value gap marked out, which is this pink box, and then this hourly, which is this black box beneath it, and then obviously this 15 minutes. So coming into the morning, what do we got going on? We're going to look at this live together. I just drew everything. I didn't even look at anything. So what do we have, right? Session lows are unswept. No SMTs created. As you can see on ES, right? 9:30 opens right here. Price instantly rips up. So no SMTs with London lows. However, we are inside of, again, this 4-hour, which is this pink box, this hourly, which is this gray box, and then we just tapped into this 15-minute right here to the left of us. So with that being said, what did we do on the way up? Well, as we were just straight rippage to the upside, what did we leave? We left an unfilled 15-minute right here, and then also this big ass unfilled 15-minute below us, which also ended up being a whole bunch of unfilled 5-minute gaps, right? So if price wanted to continue higher towards these 4-hour draws on liquidity, which were, or this hourly unfilled gap, sorry, not a 4-hour gap, this hourly unfilled gap right here, then how does price move? I was expecting something like this, right? If it wanted to continue higher, it has to come down, retrace, fill more orders, and then continue up, right? It just can't shoot up. So what do? We left the unfilled gaps. We hit this 15-minute. What do we get after hitting this 15-minute? Give me 1 second. Sorry. We create 2 internal SMTs. So price was kind of chopping around a little bit. However, we created 2 internal SMTs, right? We have a 10 a.m. high that did not get swept out on NASDAQ. Come on over to ES, and we have the 10 a.m. high getting swept out on ES. And then same thing with this 1016 high. This 1016 high got swept out. And this 1016 high did not get swept out on NASDAQ. So 2 internal SMTs along with a 15-minute fair value gap. We're already inside of an hourly bearish and a 4-hour bearish, and we have targets below us, right? So all I'm looking for is an inversion. The highest time frame inversion on the most recent leg was going to be this 3-minute fair value gap right here. Let me go back with the bar. 3-minute fair value gap right here. So I was waiting on that to get inverse, and actually as I was waiting on it to get inverse, we ended up creating that second internal SMT, right? Price is still respecting it. All I'm waiting for is an inversion. Still don't get it. Now we end up getting it. However, I did not like this entry point to where my stops were. Watch out. I gotta go like this to where my stops are going to be, right? So what did I do? I set a limit order at the inversion to watch price come up. I should have got thrown in this with this candle. I did not. I got thrown in with the 1033 candle. All right, what does price do? Well, it dances around in my stop loss just a little bit and continues to trend all the way down towards this unfilled 15-minute gap. So this trade was only took on my eval. I did not take this on my live. I did not have enough conviction to take it on my live, right? All we had was essentially just chop central, but I liked it for an eval trade due to the double SMT, and I have been backtesting double SMTs lately, and I think I was 7 for 10 with them, but I just lost the previous Friday to this. So 7 for the last 11 with double SMT. So the odds are in your favor when a double SMT presents itself, along with a 3-minute for value gap that got ran through and a clear target below. So that is why I took that trade only on my evals. And that was the first trade of the day. So these next 2 I actually did take on my XFAs on top step. So give me 1 second. Okay, what did we end up doing? What did I say earlier? How price has to move if it wants to come up to this hourly, right? Has to move in stair steps. What did price do? Price moved in a stair step, right? Came up, tapped into these unfilled 15-minute gaps, even this one right here, just barely. And we continued higher. However, again, when we continued higher, what did we leave? We left an unfilled 15-minute gap. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for bearish PD raise to the left that we can go ahead and sweep past or tap into if it is a fair value gap. And then we can target this unfilled 15-minute for another mech model. So this second trade was actually pretty identical to the first one, right? We're still inside of this 4-hour gap right here, giant 4-hour gap. What are we doing on the 1 hour? Same thing. We're still inside this 1 hour. This candle did not inverse this 1 hour yet, right? This 12 p.m. candle is still fluctuating. So this inversion has not happened yet. So we're still inside this hourly. What are we also in? We come and tap into this 15-minute order block right here. Even though I don't use order blocks, I did in this scenario. So we're still respecting this order block. We're still inside this hourly for value gap, and we're still inside this 4 hour for value gap. I know it's not that high of a conviction, so I only went in with micros on this trade. I think it was like 4, maybe 5 micros, and I typically risk 1 mini. 1 to 2 minis, depending on if it's eval or not. My XFAs, I only risk 1 mini. XFAs, I'll go up to 2, sometimes 3. But this, I only risk 5 micros on. I wasn't that confident. However, I did like the draw on liquidity, right? So 15-minute order block, still in the hourly and 4 hour for value gaps. What else did we get? Well, we got an internal SMT with this 12 p.m. high. Right, price wasn't even close to sweeping it out on ES, and it took it out on NASDAQ. So with that being said, I was now looking for an inversion to happen to now target this unfilled 15-minute below us, and when we also have 5-minute lows below us as well, which is going to be my break-even point. So I didn't like this originally because there was this unfilled hourly above us. So again, that is why I de-risked on this trade. Now, if we would have tapped into this unfilled hourly along with having this SMT as well, I would have felt a lot more comfortable with this trade. But knowing that price likes to draw to these areas of liquidity, I de-risked and had a solid break-even point, right? So again, high time frame fair value gaps, 15-minute order block, internal SMT. What do we get now? Well, we get a 1-minute inversion with rippage through it, right? It's not like it chopped around and created this fair value gap, ripped right through it. So again, I didn't like this specific entry point because it would have been a 1.24. And again, I didn't really want to enter this trade anyways to begin with. So I set a limit order at the inversion. So my stops were a lot closer and I get a lot better RR, right? Instead of 1.24, I get a 3.22 now. What does price end up doing? We now have BPR in this area. Price ends up coming up, tapping me, tapping me into the order right here. Almost stops me out, right? Stops are at the SMT highs. This SMT holds. We continue lower. We take out my break-even point, which is what? My break-even point is going to be this 5-minute internal low right here, right above this unfilled 15-minute. And the reason why that was my break-even point was because I like 5-minute internal liquidity as break-even points. Typically, if price really is truly bullish, it'll just sweep that out and continue up. So what did we end up doing? My stops are now at break even, and I get stopped out at break even about 4 candles later. So it was a W break even trade. Took no profits on this trade, but keep in mind that this unfilled 15-minute is still unfilled, and we have bearish PD arrays above us. So what is price continuing to do? We tapped into the unfilled hourly right now. Now we're just chopping around. What do we create? We now create a SMT, right? We have these equal highs right here inside this 15-minute for value gap. So not only did we tap into a high time frame bearish for value gap, we also tapped into this 15-minute right here. And then here, let me show you the hourly. We are also inside this hourly with an unfilled 15-minute below us. And again, if you guys know how price moves in stair steps, right? We have to come up, go down, and if we want to continue higher, we have to respect these PD arrays after we retrace and continue higher. So we also have all this LRL right here. Let's go to my entry point. Again, hourly fair value gap, right? That's our high time frame narrative. We also tapped into a 15-minute. What else do we get on the lower time frames? We get an internal SMT. NASDAQ had equal highs right here, and we went ahead and took them out at 1331, which is 131. 119 was the high that was created. Here we go right here. 114. 1333, right? So that's what it looks like. NASDAQ came up, swept it out. What do we get? Let me come here. Sorry, I was just blanking out. I actually entered this trade off of a 30-second CISD, and I don't get the 30-second chart on NASDAQ, so I can't show you, but, or on, not on NASDAQ, on TradingView. But this was the entry point to the 30-second IFVG. Now, it wasn't the best of entries because if I did want, or not IFVG, CISD, if I did want to enter off of a valid CISD, I should have waited for this 1 minute. So again, this trade was a de-risk trade. I think I only risked 8 minis, or fuck no, not minis, 8 micros on this trade. Stops at the SMT highs again. Where's my break-even point? Break-even point is again at a 5-minute internal low. And then I have take profits all the way down to the unfilled 15-minute. So what do we end up getting off the 30-second CISD? Again, stop tight loss, or tight stop loss, wow, and a 4.96 RR. What do we get? We hit our break-even point. We hit my break-even point. I actually do take partials right here. I think I took 5 off. I was going to let 3 run. And what ends up happening, I ended up letting 3 run, and we hit the unfilled 15-minute. Done for the day, right? So we had the 1 eval trade. Right? Is this still Monday? Yeah, this is still Monday. We had the 1 eval trade. That was a dub. Mech short. Then we had a break-even trade. That was a mech short. Then we had a 3rd trade. That was also a mech short. That was a dub on the exit phase. So 1, 1, and 1 on Monday. With that being said, let's roll on over to Tuesday. All right, so moving on over to Tuesday. Tuesday was my only losing day of the week. I only took 1 trade on Tuesday. I got off after it. I knew I did not have the right draw on liquidity, just how price ended up moving throughout the day. I entered this trade, got stopped out literally immediately. I think I was in the trade maybe for like 50 seconds, 58 seconds. But anyways, here's my conviction, right? So we are trading up. And what do we end up doing all the way the fuck over here? Well, this 6 a.m. candle ends up inversing this 4-hour bearish for value gap. And then we also have another unfilled 4-hour gap above here. So what do I like to see? I also see accumulation on the higher time frame. So I'd like to see manipulation lower, and we can draw towards that as our like higher time frame narrative or bias, right? And we also have all these bearish 4-hour for value gaps. So not only do we inverse this 4-hour bearish gap with another unfilled 4-hour target above us, well, we then at 10 a.m. What do we do at 10 a.m.? We manipulate it lower back into this 4-hour for value gap. Let me see if, because we're doing this together, right? Market open, we swept out London lows. What do? Kind of chop around again for the next 15 minutes or so, 15 to 20 minutes. And then at 10 a.m., we instantly open lower, okay? So let's go to the 10 a.m. Candle. Look at what we do. 10 a.m.'s right here. We instantly open lower, and where do we go? Well, we retreat market open lows. And where else do we go into? Well, we go into this 15-minute for value gap. We also are filling this time this 4-hour for value gap. Yeah, it got tapped into before, but barely, right? So we filled it more along with tapping into this 15-minute for value gap. And then what else do we have? Well, I have 2 15-minute SMTs as well, because at this point, we're only right here, right? So this, what is that? 330 low from the previous day. Come over here. Sorry, I don't know why the fuck it wasn't drawn out. So this low got swept out on ES along with this 1345 low. So we come over here. This 1345 low did not get swept out on NASDAQ. And same thing with this 330 low right here, right? Did not get swept out on NASDAQ. So we have a 4-hour for value gap. We have a liquidity sweep of the market open. We have a 15-minute for value gap. We have 2 15-minute SMTs. So all I'm looking for now is a inversion. because our target is going to be, what do you fucking know? We are going to mech long this. This target is going to be this unfilled fair value gap, right? Unfilled 15-minute. We also had 5-minute highs that were right here. So I did like the draw higher. All I'm looking for, again, is an inversion. Nothing on the 5-minute. What do we get on the 4-minute? Nothing on the 4-minute. Nothing on the 3-minute as well. Okay. Do we get anything on the 2-minute? Nope. No fair value gaps on the 2-minute. So where is our next inversion? Well, we have a 1-minute fair value gap right here. We invert it with speed. Typically, I would set my limit order right here. However, in this case, I didn't. I like the speed that goes through, and we had a 1.37 RR, which was perfect for me, right? Clear target above. We have all this LRL along with the 2 SMTs, right? We talked about liquidity sweep, market open, 4-hour fair value gap, 15-minute fair value gap, LRL, unfilled 15-minute above us. This is the trade I'll take 10 out of times when it presents itself. And as you guys can see, instantly got stopped out, right? So it happens, 70% win rate on this strategy alone. So with that being said, when this strategy presents itself, it's not going to win 100% of the time, but when it does present itself, it has a 70% win rate. And that's exactly what I'm looking for, right? I'm looking for SMTs, I'm looking for fair value gaps, I'm looking for high time frame, I guess you can say, or high draws on liquidity, right? And that's exactly what I had here. Just didn't work out. I was one and done for the day. Lost on Tuesday. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about any of these days. Let's go on over to Wednesday. Okay, so heading into Wednesday, what do we have? Well, what did I notice on the 4-hour? There is a unfilled 4-hour right here, which is going to be this pink line. Remember, because this 6 a.m. candle is still fluctuating when we're logging on in the morning. So this 4-hour fair value gap is still valid. What do we have on the hourly? Well, we have these hourly highs right here, right? And we also have these hourly highs right here as well. Okay, so what I wanted to see, maybe manipulation higher. I was bearish on the day due to the higher trend. Come up into this 4-hour fair value gap, and then we can possibly look for a short opportunity. So with that being said, what do we end up getting at market open? Well, we end up really just chopping around. And then what do? 10 a.m. opens, right? We just chop around from 9:30 all the way till, about 10 a.m. What do we get at 10 a.m.? 10 a.m. opens high. What is the open high into? This unfilled 4-hour fair value gap along with this hourly sweep of liquidity. Also now again inside of this hourly fair value gap that is right here. Okay. And what else do we end up creating? Well, we have an SMT. Go to the, here, let's go to the 1-hour because it's easier on the 1-hour. Go to the 1-hour, right? These are actually London highs as well. So this was a London high and 1-hour SMT. 4 a.m. highs, and then come over here. 4 a.m. highs, right? Did not get swept out. So, not at that time at least. Yeah, see? Drop down to the 15. So, we have a SMT as well as a 4-hour and 1-hour bearish gap. What is our take profit points below? Well, we have this 15-minute internal low. Let me find out where I entered. And then there was also this 15-minute internal low as well. So this first one was going to be TP1. And the second TP1 and break even. And the second one was going to be TP2 and final TP. Okay. So we have two 15-minute internal lows. Where is our stop loss? At the SMT highs. What did I enter off of? 5-minute inversion right here. And I set a limit order instead of having it all the way back up at the 5-minute inversion. I set a limit order at this 3-minute fair value gap and actually check this fucking entry out. I get wicked into it perfectly. 0 drawdown. Price takes out my first take profit, which is this 15-minute internal low. I take profits, move stops to break even. I actually don't know what price ended up doing. And price ended up retracing up. I do think I ended up taking my second contract because I went in for 2 minis on this trade. I took my second contract out right here. I actually went in on this trade with 2 minis on my XFA. And one thing I did write down when I was journaling is I was careless with this trade, right? It was a good setup. I had what I needed. My higher time frame narrative. I had my conditions getting respected or validated. And then I seen a 5-minute inversion with speed. Price retraced into a 3-minute fair value gap where my limit order was, and we continued down. So it was good conviction on this trade, but I got a little careless with my risk. I was fine on my evals, only risked 1 mini on my eval, but on my XFAs I risked 2. Right, I did hit break even with one, or TP1 with one, which was break even, and then I ended up getting out of the other contract right here at like 10:29, because I was leaving a runner to this second 50-minute internal low. So I got a little careless on my XFAs. However, it ended up working out. But I don't plan on doing that again, right? Because my mental in that trade was just not there. Yeah, I got lucky that I won. My strategy presented itself. I liked the setup. It's not like a forced trade. It was just I over-risked, right? So we have to incorporate all these things in order to have a good mental, especially when you're trading. Because if I would have lost that trade, I probably would have been way more upset rather than if I just risked 1 mini and stuck to my rules, right? Because essentially that is breaking my rules. One more look at it, right? So this 4-hour fair value gap, hourly sweep of liquidity. Also inside this hourly fair value gap, we have a 15-minute SMT, 5-minute inversion, 3-minute fair value gap tap. Internal lows below us. One gets hit, the other one does not. So guys, my DoorDash is here. I'm about to come back with a fat fucking burrito. Bro, look what the fuck Chipotle got handing out in the bags now. They heard too many people bitching about the portion sizes, so they decided to give us mints instead of beefing the portion. Watch, let's open this fucking burrito together. Let's see how small this shit is. Oh, actually, it looks decent fucking size. Am I fat for this? Oh my god, why is my microphone coming off? The fuck? Oh yeah, we got an actual decent sized burrito this time, guys. Let's fucking go. Let's, oh my god, my microphone's not even near me. Let's end it off with Wednesday, and then let's get into this pre-week analysis because I am hungry and I want my burrito. My burrito. Okay, so what do we end up doing? This high right here is actually previous day high. So what are we doing at market open, right? We're inside of this 4-hour fair value gap, but on the 4-hour, we're literally just accumulating. Nothing near us. So what are our draws above? Well, there's this previous day high, and there's also this unfilled 4-hour gap, which is also an unfilled 1 hour. And then what is below us, right? If I was truly bullish on the day, what would I want to see? These are London lows, and this is a unfilled 1 hour for value gap. So if I wanted to take longs, I wanted to see accumulation down into here, maybe manipulate it at 10 a.m. Sweep past London lows, possibly create an SMT, come into these hourly fair value gaps, and then we can see an inversion out of it, targeting either these accumulation zone highs, this SMT up here, or not SMT, this previous day high up here, or this unfilled 1 hour and 4 hour for value gap. Well, what do we end up doing? 9 o'clock comes and we end up just ripping up, almost sweeping past this previous day high. But what do we do when we rip up? Unfilled 15-minute right here. Here we go again with the MEX. And what do we end up doing? We ended up actually sweeping out previous day high, creating an SMT. Right, here we go. Nowhere near, right? We're like right here. Okay, so we created a previous day high SMT, and we also have 2 unfilled 15-minute fair value gaps below us. So what do we get? Here is this unfilled 15-minute, and here is this unfilled 15-minute. What did I enter off of? Price came up. Previous day high SMT. What else do we have? Where's 10 a.m.? First of all, we're creating all this LR right here, right? This low resistance liquidity. And what does 10 a.m. do? 10 a.m. opens high, sweeps past previous day high, creates an SMT, and as soon as it sweeps past previous day high, we invert this 1 minute for value gap right here. Okay, break even point is actually this 1 minute low, which wasn't the best break even point. Let's take a look at what the RR was on it. It was a 0.65 RR, so not the best break even point, kind of risky break even. However, we hit it. What do we end up doing? We go down to this first unfilled 15-minute for value gap. Again, I went in with 2 on my XFA. However, I was a lot more comfortable with this trade, and I had a bigger buffer from the days prior. So I took 1 out right here. Stop's already at break even. I was letting the other contract ride. I ended up trailing my stop to about where this red line is. And we can see what price ends up doing. Well, price hits the first 15-minute and ends up reversing back up, continuing bullish for the day. And lo and behold, where does price end up going? Well, it goes into this unfilled 4-hour for value gap. So That was also another valid draw on liquidity if your conviction was higher for the day, but I did like this mech model towards these unfilled 15-minute fair value gaps, along with the 10 a.m. open high. I would have loved to seen a low close right there, but trade ended up working out. I won Friday. I was in Myrtle Beach. I actually won on the beach. It was pretty cool. I only traded on my phone though. Sorry for the no live stream. I don't like trading on my fucking laptop mouse pad, and I didn't bring my actual mouse with me. So that's why I traded on my phone. It was just a lot easier. So with that being said, that'll be all for the weekly recap. So let's jump right into the pre-week analysis. All right, so Monday, I don't expect much, right? Because we have red folder throughout the rest of the week. So Monday is a no news Monday. Not really expecting much price action. We are near all-time highs, so possibly we take out the all-time high draw. Other than that, that's all I can really see on Monday. Tuesday, CPI in the pre-market at 8:30. So I can expect volume to pick up on Tuesday. Yellow folder the rest of the day doesn't really matter. All I'm really worried about is the CPI. Possibly look for manipulations towards data highs, data lows as market opens, and we'll go from there, right? So moving on over to Wednesday, again, no news Wednesday. None of this shit matters, right? Yellow folder don't even come till 10:30 anyway, so hopefully I'm out the market by then. Don't expect much Wednesday. Moving on over to Thursday. Thursday is going to pick up again. We have PPI at 8:30, and again, yellow folder the rest of the day. So same thing as Tuesday. Expect pre-market manipulation, or not pre-market, but market open manipulation towards data highs, data lows. Possible SMTs to confirm or deny our buys for the day. And then moving on over to Friday, we have red folder at 8:30 and red folder at 10. So I won't be taking a trade until after 10. Hopefully this 10 a.m. news actually matters and I don't just wait till 10 and price just does absolutely nothing. But I won't be taking a trade till after 10. I can expect price to be pretty volatile on this Friday, especially heading into this weekend. Depending on where we're at, we're most likely going to be at all-time highs. So that is what I'm looking forward to going into this week. Let's jump on over to the charts real quick. As you guys can tell, literally on the hourly, what's to the left of us, we have all-time highs to the left of us, clear bullish structure. Here we go on the 4-hour, right? Clear bullish structure. What are we doing? We're just creating higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. And here we go with the higher highs again. And we have all-time highs right to the left of us. So like I said, I believe Monday we will take those out and then we'll play it by ear the rest of the week goes. Obviously, watch out for the news. We don't want to be trading before red folder. So with that being said, that'll be all for me today on this weekly recap. I will see you guys tomorrow morning at 9:20 with a daily bias at LoeGpa on all social medias, and my free Discord link is in the bio if you do want to learn to trade like me. If you do like my content, go check it out. But with that being said, I'll be out of here today and I'll see you guys tomorrow live trading at 9:30 in the morning on a no news Monday.